Tell me Westcoast Rob, man, and welcome to my podcast, You Bitch. The thoughts, views, and opinions you may hear on this show are just that. My thoughts, my views, my opinions. So if you don't like them, disagree with them, or are offended by them, well, there's a simple solution to all that, and that's just stop listening. But if you aren't easily offended and you care to partake in the conversation, we'll sit back, turn it up, and enjoy the show. YeahDat. With summer in full swing, and you out there at the pools and the beaches, showing off the bod, showing off the fly swimsuits, you need a fly pair of shades to go along with that and just set the bar extra high. So check out blenderseyewear.com for some of the flyest, most affordable shades out there on the market. Blenders Eyewear delivers the world's coolest and most affordable eyewear that inspires people to live life in forward motion. Made in my hometown of San Diego, California, go out there and support local businesses and small businesses. So check out blenderseyewear.com, use promo code Westcoast Rob, that's one word, and save you some money. blenderseyewear.com, promo code Westcoast Rob. YeahDat.
You are now listening to YeahDat, the podcast, hosted by Westcoast Rob.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of YeahDat, the podcast, hosted by yours truly, West Coast Roberto, me. You know what I'm saying? We're going strong. I told you we're starting back up. You know, in the last episode, that was the first episode that I had done prior to. I took a little hiatus in regards to the podcast. My last episode, I covered, where I've been. I gave a little brief little rundown and update of what's been going on prior to the last episode, because the episode before the last episode was back in January, and I just went over what was going on in my life and why I took the hiatus. So I gave a little life update. So if you're curious about that, then tune into the episode, man. If you're listening to this episode, most likely you've listened to that episode. And you know what? Salute. You know what I'm saying? Fist up. I appreciate you. Got love for you for that. YeahDat. Shout out to you guys for listening to that episode and for tuning in to this episode. And we're just, like I said, we're gonna keep on moving and grooving, man. YeahDat. So, we're post Independence Day. For those of you out of country, the listeners out of country, yesterday was Independence Day here in the United States, which is the birthday of the United States of America. So it's a big deal for us here. We celebrated it yesterday and all weekend, actually. I got a lot of time off, so I hope everybody out there had a good Independence Day weekend. I hope everybody was safe, because there were a lot of people who had incidents this past weekend, and it's real unfortunate that happened. For example, there was a goalkeeper for the Columbus Blue Jackets in the NHL, Matthias K. I can't even pronounce his last name. He lost his life yesterday, so my condolences go out to him and to his family and friends who are really impacted by that. So I guess they were, for those of you who aren't familiar, they were, playing with fireworks, and one of the mortars tipped and it hit him and shot and it hit him directly in the chest, which the impact from the mortar killed him. He's only 24 years old, young, still a young man. Still got a lot of life to live. He was a NHL goalie, so my respects go out to his family and condolences for his loss. And then I seen something else where a lady in Texas, back in Texas where I used to live, she was she was sipping, as majority of us were, those who care to partake in sipping. She was drinking and at the same time trying to light a firework, and she tripped and fell, and the firework she lit went off in her face. So now she's undergoing some severe operations, or some serious operations for her face, because she suffered some serious damage to her face. So when it comes to that stuff, when it comes to life, people take it for granted. So that's, you got the saying, you gotta live life to its fullest. You just gotta appreciate life, appreciate what you got. But on a lighter note, we're gonna get into this podcast, man. And I got some things I want to talk about, things that really bother me in regards to society. Y'all, for those avid listeners and followers to the podcast, y'all understand my take on society, how much I'm not a fan of today's society, and in regards to everything, in regards to social media and the influences and all that stuff. But we're just gonna dive right into it. So get ready. YeahDat. Well, all right. So one thing that really bothers me, that in regards to not even just society, but even in the workplace, just in life in general, is hypocrisy and ignorance. And for me, it's I don't know, I guess thinking back when I was younger, I really didn't care. But now, I guess, maturing and trying and just keeping an open mind and being optimistic to a lot of things, I see things in a different light. I try to weigh things and see things from both sides of the spectrum, and not just feel like my point of view, or however it is I'm feeling is the right decision, or what have you. So in that aspect, I know a lot of people are looking forward to the Olympics this year. Me, I'm one of them. I look forward to the Olympics every 4 years. Summer Olympics, I'm not much of a fan of the Winter Olympics. No offense to Winter Olympic athletes and fans. It's just not my thing. But Summer Olympics, though, man, Summer Olympics is fire. So with that being said, I know everybody who is a fan of the Summer Olympics is familiar with Sha'Carri Richardson. And for those of you who aren't, Sha'Carri Richardson is a young sprinter, track and field sprinter. She's a beast. She is a beast. She's unique. She's herself. She's known for her bright hair, her long nails, and just being herself, because she is a beast when it comes to the 100 meters. So, going through the Olympic trials, she went in and was just slaying everybody. Easily made it to the Olympics. Front runner for gold medalists, or a front runner for being a contender for the gold medal in the 100 meters. So with all that being said, news popped up a couple of days ago that she will no longer be eligible for the 100 meters because she failed a drug test. Prior to the Olympic trials, she smoked some weed and took the drug test, went into the Olympic trials, slayed it. Drug test came back afterwards. She failed, so she is no longer eligible to run the 100 meters in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. She's eligible for the 4x100 meters. However, for the 100 meter sprint, which she is heavily favored, she is not eligible to run. So with that being said, my thing is this. So she knew she had to take a drug test, but decided to smoke weed anyway. And the reason being is because she found out that she had her biological mother had passed away. And the way she found out was real sketch. You know, she was doing an interview, and the reporter doing the interview with her brought it to her attention, and you know, it just caught her off guard. So, you know, it was, of course, that's a real devastating, impactful piece of news to find out. And then the way she found out, of course, it's sketch, you know. And you know, people cope with things differently. You know, a lot of people smoke weed, you know, just to chill and, you know, ease their minds and whatever the case may be. You know, people do their thing. However, my thing is, she could have did it a different way. You know what I mean? And that's neither here nor there. This is my opinion. Like, she could have did it another way. You knew you had the trials coming up, the Olympic trials, and you knew you had to run. You knew you were gonna take a drug test. So for you to do that was kind of like, you're all that hard work and shit you prepped for the Olympic trials to make it to the Olympics, to compete for a gold medal, to be one of the favorites to win a gold medal, and just cement yourself in Olympic history, and not only better your life in regards to endorsements, because she was gonna get endorsements out the ass. Like, we all knew it, we all saw it coming, but just to blow that and just to blow on some weed is, to me, was kind of foolish on her part. But then something that I really was kind of bothered by was the fact that when the news broke online and on every platform, just like the comments that people were putting on there, like, oh my god, oh, she's getting disqualified for weed, like, come on, that's bull, this isn't this, really, it's medicinal, woo woo, just minute for weed, this isn't this, like cut that shit out, man. Stop being fucking ignorant when it comes to shit like that. Like, the fact of the matter is, she wasn't supposed to smoke, but yet she smoked. Therefore, it ruined her chance to go to the Olympics. Just like when it comes to NFL players can't smoke weed during the season or whatever. They can't do it, so they don't do it. But other people, like people out there, aren't saying, oh, well, you know, they should be able to smoke. I mean, that's neither here nor there. When people are like, okay, well, you know, she's getting disqualified for smoking weed, but then alcohol is legal. When are they gonna do this? Woo woo. I mean, that's irrelevant to the whole thing. That's a whole different conversation. The fact of the matter is, she wasn't supposed to do it. She knew she wasn't supposed to do it. Therefore, she gets disqualified. So what bothers me is just that the fact that people are just tripping on the fact that she's getting disqualified for doing something she's not supposed to do. Like us in the military, it's just, you're not allowed to do it. Regardless if you are stationed and work in a state that marijuana is legal in, you are not supposed to do it. So if a member in the military smokes weed and then get punished for it, knowing they're not supposed to do it, are people going to come out and be like, oh no, well, it's medicinal, they're not supposed to do it, woo woo? Are the higher ups going to see that and be like, no, you know what, it's they were coping, blah blah blah? No, they're not, because fact of the matter is you're not supposed to do it, regardless of it being legal in the state you're in, whatever. Just like her, she was in Oregon where it's legal. However, she wasn't supposed to do it. You're not allowed to do it if you're trying to be on the Olympic squad. It's just, to me, ignorance. It's just a lot of ignorance out there, and there's a double standard when it comes to stuff like that. People are just like, oh, the weed, it was just weed, it comes from the earth, blah blah blah. But it's like, come on, like grow up, man. She knew she wasn't supposed to do it, whatever. Yeah, it's weed, it comes from the earth, it's not that detrimental to people's whatever your thoughts and beliefs are behind it. The fact of the matter, she wasn't supposed to do it. You know what I mean? And that's just something that really bothers me. And for me, being a black man, it's real upsetting to see that, especially when it comes to black people saying and acting that way, being hypocrites or ignorant to something, whatever the case may be. Because it's, in one light, it's like you want to be seen a different way. Like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, all for it. I'm cool with that, because it's a serious matter. However, you want to protest, then protest. Be official. You want to be seen differently, you want to be seen equally, act that way. But when you're out here doing ignorant shit, feeding into the stereotype, then that's the shit that bothers me. Like, for example, we went to last night, we went and watched fireworks. Me and the fan band, we stopped in a Wawa, got some smoothies and whatnot, and there was a dude in there just talking shit, just talking shit just in general. And I guess I wasn't paying him no attention, because people who crave attention, I don't like to give people attention who crave it or who are looking for it, because it's ultimately that's what they're looking for, and I'm not for that. But I guess my wife was listening to what he was saying, and he was over there mumbling and just talking, calling everybody sheep in regards to not wearing masks. And I guess he was like, well, yeah, as soon as they say no mask, then all y'all are not wearing masks, all of y'all are sheep, all of y'all are puppets, because y'all just do what everybody says. Woo woo woo. No mask. As soon as they say no mask, you're not wearing a mask. This and this. Meanwhile, this fool is criticizing and talking shit about everybody not wearing a mask while he isn't wearing a mask. It's like, are you over here talking shit about people not wearing a mask? Where's your mask at, fool? Dumbass motherfucker. Meanwhile, the attendant's like, what's your number? And he says his number, and she's like, yeah, I've been called your number 10-15 minutes ago. And then he walks up, he's like, oh, well, you're welcome, I pay for your hourly wage. And then he walks out, and it's just like, just another ignorant motherfucker. And it's not just black folks, man. It goes for all races, every race, black, white, Asian, Mexican. It's just, I can relate because I'm a black male, and I see my fellow black people, and for them to act a certain way, or to act that way in the same aspect, wanting to be seen in a different light, it's just like, stop, man. You know what I mean? Stop. And for Sha'Carri Richardson to do what she did, and for people to be like, oh nah, man, it's the Olympic Committee is tripping for suspending her. It's like, nah, they're not, man. They're not. They told that she knew the rules. She even admitted she knew what it was, and she did what it did. She did it anyway. It's like, don't come out talking about, I knew the rules and I did it anyway, but then want to be like, no, all the naysayers, woo, woo, and for people to jump on the committee or whomever for disciplining her. It's like what do you expect? You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect? Just because you wanted to see her run, she fucked it away, and now you want the committee to be like, nah, fuck it, let her run anyway, because you want to see her. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And for those who are offended by what I just went over, like, I really don't give a fuck. But if you really think about what I'm saying in the same aspect, in the light, then just, you'll understand. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to be seen a different way, act a different way. Don't feed into stereotypes, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Don't be a hypocrite. And that's ultimately what it is. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't act and feed into stereotypes that we're seen and put into. Just don't do it, man. Think about it. Just because you're from the ghetto, you know what I mean, or live in the ghetto, doesn't mean you should always stay in the ghetto or stay ghetto. I mean, you should always want better for yourself, and that just goes for everybody. You know, not everybody is able and fortunate to be in the suburbs, or grow up in the suburbs, or grow up with money, or grow up well off. Some people had to grow up struggling, and those who grew up struggling, just because you grew up struggling doesn't mean you have to stay struggling. You should always want better for yourself, for your family, for whatever. And once you do end up progressing and getting out of that shit, then keep doing what you're doing and progress. Like, why wouldn't you want better for yourself? Why wouldn't you want to get up out of that? And then you do get out of it. That doesn't mean you have to. I'm not saying to be bougie and be fake or whatever. You can still be yourself, but be optimistic. Keep an open mind, man. You know? And it's like the interview Sha'Carri did. Like, she needs a PR person, man. Like, straight up. Like, I know she's from the hood or whatever. She's from the South. And she's like, homegirl, you sound ignorant as fuck talking. Like, you really need to reevaluate the things you are saying or really trying to say, because you really don't sound intellectual at all whatsoever. But I don't know, I kind of went on a tangent and a rant, but point being, if you want to be seen in a certain way, then work and act on the way you want to be seen. If you don't want to be seen as ignorant, don't act ignorant. You don't want to be seen as ghetto, don't act ghetto. I mean, not saying change who you are, but be an adult. You know what I mean? Be open-minded. Ultimately, that's what I'm saying, man. And it's just like, I sit here and I watch and I hear stories and see stories and all that stuff, and it's just really upsetting, because it's like, stop acting like that. Just stop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't act how I act or do what I do to appease anybody. I do what I do for me. You know, because me personally, I grew up in a barrio. I mean, I grew up not having a lot of money. You know, my mom was a single mom, working, having to support her 2 children. We didn't have a lot of money. We've been evicted. You know what I mean? We damn near lived in a car. We were homeless for a little bit. You know what I mean? We struggled. We know what it is like to struggle. My sister and I know what it's like to struggle. But with that being said, we worked our ass off so that we don't have to struggle. You know, my daughters will never know what it's like to struggle. And that's not just me being fake. That's just me wanting better for myself. You, like the homies out here, man, y'all out here selling weed and selling these little motherfucking dime bags and all that shit. Like, for what? Y'all gonna live large off them little shits, man? I mean, want better for yourself. And I can just go on and on all night when it comes to the shit. So, but I think I'm just gonna stop right there, man, because it's just, I'm trying to generalize the topic in itself when it comes to just ignorance, man. It's just ultimately it's ignorance and hypocrisy. I dislike it very much, and I see it a lot, and it's upsetting, especially when you see it on social media, on just media period, news, and just shit like that. Like, if you want better for yourself, man, you're gonna have to adapt and act a certain way, act differently. Act differently. I mean, don't feed into the stereotypes. You don't want to be seen and categorized and put into the stereotype, then don't act that way. Plain and simple. That's all it is. And if y'all got some issues and y'all are upset with what I'm saying, that's fine, man. That's your opinion. Shoot me a DM on IG and express it, and we can talk it out. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions. So, but on that note, I'm just gonna end that right there because I can just go on and on about it. But that's how I feel about that, man. So, yeah, that. Well, all right, folks. This wraps up another episode of YeahDat the podcast. It's more on the shorter end. I didn't want to drag out and beat up the topic of ignorance and hypocrisy too much. I don't want it to come to the point to where it's just a redundant thing. I'm just going over. But you guys heard what I had to say, or heard my feelings about it all. Long story short, man, you don't want to be seen in a certain way, then maybe you should change up a few things, point blank period. I'm not alienating just one race, that's just people in general. I've seen it in all shades. It's just point blank period. You want to be seen equally, you want to be treated equally, treated better, then you just need to look in the mirror. You might need to change something up. But just wrapping it up on that, man. That's all I really wanted to go over was that, that topic. I'm currently sitting here watching this Tampa Habs game, man. Game 4. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, so I've been saying that they're gonna sweep the Habs. So we're about to go into OT, so we'll see how it goes. I've been a hockey fan my whole life. I played hockey growing up. I'm just an athlete, so I love all sports, all real sports. And that's a whole nother conversation. Don't get me started into all this new bullshit that's out. That's motherfuckers are professional at claiming their sports, and it's not. But anywho, I hope everybody had a great and safe holiday weekend. My condolences go out to Matthias Clevas. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce his name and butcher it, but the 24-year-old goalie for the Blue Jackets, he lost his life yesterday while getting out of a hot tub at a gathering. They were lighting fireworks, and the mortar tipped over, and as he was getting out of the hot tub, the fireworks struck him in the chest, and just the impact of it ended up killing him. So my condolences go out to his family and his friends. Sorry for your loss, but I hope everybody had a great and safe holiday weekend. For those of you who aren't in the United States, yesterday was the 4th of July, which is Independence Day for us here in the United States, our birthday of our country. So, of course, we went out and celebrated. We just had a long weekend, a long time off. So tomorrow's the grind, back to work, back to the work week. But yeah, like I said, hope everybody had a safe weekend and a good weekend. My condolences go out to Matthias's family, and my prayers go out to the lady in Texas who, during the holiday weekend, she was lighting a firework and tripped, and she was sipping like everybody else who this weekend, those out there who do drink. But she tripped and the firework went off and hit her in the face. So now she's going through some tough times, dealing with some serious surgeries to repair her face. So, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. And like I said, everybody out there, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you guys have a great and productive work week. And until the next episode of YeahDat the podcast, this is your homeboy Westcoast Rob signing out. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode. YeahDat.